Hello friends, how are you? Hope you are doing well. So let us continue our discussion related to the questions for environmental management. Next question is about outline the factors for effective operational planning and controls with reference to the ISO 14001. So first of all, we need to understand the best practicable environmental options, BPEOs, best practicable environmental options, then assessment of the control system to determine the best available techniques and the importance of any integrated approach of the pollution prevention and control. The next factor we can think about the selection of the operational control methodologies to ensure the effective operations, and we can say like using of the hierarchy of the controls like elimination, substitution, reduction and control, process design to prevent the errors and ensure consistent results, technology to control the processes like we can think about the engineering controls, use of the competent workers and procedures in place to ensure processes are always being performed in the same way or systematic way. So next consideration is about monitoring and measuring of the checking results and determine the use and amount of documented information. Then next factors related to the operational planning and control or effective operational planning and control, we can consider the factors like uh, the choice of operational control measures like the factors are long-term, short-term, applicability, practicability, cost, very importantly, and possibly we can think about the conflicts between the protection of workers and protection of the environment, and factors to be considered in the selection of the best solution for an organization based on relevant risk and opportunities associated. And some important consideration to the fiscal controls like taxes on the landfills, taxes on the aggregate extractions as well. Next question is about identifying the techniques for evaluation of the environmental aspect and impact. So certain techniques are like an example cost benefit analysis, which is being applied to the environmental aspects and impacts, environmental modeling. We can think about the principles and the application of those environmental modeling like air modeling, right? Next is about life cycle analysis, very important as per ISO 14000. Also life cycle perspectives we need to consider. So here we consider the cradle to grave concept, principles and techniques of the life cycle analysis, and important subject is there benefits of a circular economy. So zero waste concept we need to follow actually. And we can consider some other important techniques like assessment of the environmental toxicity also, like we can say predicted no effect concentration or ecotoxicity testing as well. Then next question is about outline some of the environmental performance indicators. So KPIs, when we are talking about related to environmental management, certain examples are environmental incidents, emission to atmosphere, waste generated, water consumed, wastewater, energy consumed, energy wasted, okay, and transportation and travel related indicators for environment. Then think about the carbon dioxide and greenhouse gas emissions. We can think about the environmental management awareness programs as well as a indicator for environmental management. So there are certain important questions related to the monitoring techniques as well. So what are the type of environmental performance monitoring techniques? So we can think about and active and reactive monitoring. So active monitoring, which is the measures including the monitoring of the performance standard and the criteria and using systematic inspection of the workplaces. But reactive monitoring measuring the data on accidents and incidents, emissions, waste generated, water and energy related waste, complaints by the workforce, communities, and by the enforcement bodies. So, or enforcement actions we can consider in the investigations for them. Next question is about how to make workplace environmental inspections effective. So think about the certain factors which we can include here, like role of inspections and the role of inspectors also, their effectiveness and efficacy in going for environmental management related inspections and performing effectively those inspections. Factors governing frequency and type of inspection, competency of the inspector, and the formats and the checklist and the content of the inspection, checklist, we can say. Typical locations to be inspected, how frequently that being inspected, like for an example, material storage areas, vehicle refueling areas. Use of the checklist and allocation of the responsibility and priorities of the actions, and the requirement for effective report writing. So where we can consider, for an example, the reporting style, the structure, the emphasis and summary, the persuasiveness. So related to, these are certain examples related to the environmental management effective report writing. Then next question is about how do we go for conducting effective environmental management audit. So for that we need to consider certain factors, like first of all, to set a scope of the audit, purpose of audit with respect to environmental management system, and we need to go for distinction between audits and inspection. We need to set a clear line between audits and inspections, and then we need to define the key elements and the features of the planning and undertaking the environmental management audits. We need to set the responsibilities for the auditors and auditees. We need to make the people aware about the advantages and disadvantages of external and internal audits, right? In-house and proprietary environmental audits. So there are certain examples related to the range of environmental audit, like we can say due diligence, compliance verifications, compliance audits, management system audits, single issue audit, like for a particular issue like waste or energy. Then we talk about the sustainability audits. Next question is about what are the 5 sustainable capitals and the dependencies between them. So we think about natural capital, social capital, human capital, financial capital, or manufactured or built capital. This is coming under infrastructure capital. Now they all are interrelated to each other, right? And what are the factors to consider implementing environmental corporate social responsibility and self-regulation actually? So the factors to consider for implementing environmental corporate responsibility and self-regulation. So for that we need to consider, like first of all, the role of the corporate social responsibility in promoting the sustainability, assuming the responsibilities for corporate governance as well for the environmental burdens caused by the activities, products and services, actions to improve own performances. We can think about the control of the corporate social irresponsibility. We can take examples of the child labor, slavery, water abstractions, waste dumping, right? And thinking about factors like implementation of environmental risk management controls, and that shall be with a sustainability perspective to avoid, assess and reduce the environmental risk. Adoption of the life cycle thinking, from raw materials and energy generation through production and use to end of life disposal and recovery, basically about the supply chain requirement. And communicating the commitments, performance and other information related to the social responsibility, the effects on business of adverse stakeholder reactions to the environmental performance concerns, understanding the clear role of self-regulations related to the environmental management. So following all the corporate governance requirements. Now, how can we understand the global recognitions of the importance of sustainability? So we can think of certain global conventions like biological diversity, which was in 1992, International Tropical Timber Agreement 2006. We can think about the 1992 Climate Change Conventions. We can think about 1992 Rio de Janeiro Agenda 21. We can think about, and UN Global Compact finally. So we can say United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and Targets also. This is again about the global recognition for the importance of sustainability. Next question is about how we can make responsible waste management more effective. So by considering the following factors, like use of hierarchies in the waste management plans, going for principles of the waste minimization, hazardous and non-hazardous landfills separately, importance of the responsible waste management, concept of a circular economy, role of the design in the reducing waste, and importantly steps to responsible waste management like segregation, identification and labeling, storage, transportation and disposal can lead to the responsible waste management more effective or more effectiveness. The next question is about how to make waste management monitoring more effective? So for this waste management monitoring program to be more effective, first of all, we need to conduct awareness for purpose and benefits of the waste monitoring, defining the environmental practitioner's role in the monitoring waste, specify why and when sampling is required, specify the limits of the competence, arranging for a specialist and undertaking the samples. Then we can say detailed and accurate analysis of the sampling reports are required, making and implementing recommendations from the analysis of those sampling reports, and conducting finally the waste management audit. So this is how we can make that more effective. Then we can go for next question: what factors to be considered for deciding the control strategies for solid waste management? So there are certain engineering control measures to eliminate, or where not possible, we can go for reduction or render harmless solid waste at source. We can reduce it or render harmless solid waste. So think about the benefits of different solid waste treatment techniques like incinerations, pyrolysis, gasification. We can think about the biomechanical waste treatment, fermentation, anaerobic digestion, and composting. So there are certain limitations also associated with each technique. And think about the next methodology or engineering control about landfills. So first of all, we need to go for principles of site selection, behavior of the waste we need to understand, including the materials which are banned from the landfills. So first of all, we need to go for the behavioral studies for the waste actually. Then site management control is very important, overseeing, monitoring, performance measurement related to this waste management, and finally zero waste to the landfill. So these factors we can consider for making the solid waste management more effective. Thank you very much friends. For now, we will continue our discussion from the next set of questions. Thank you.